And we find ourselves heading into a fifth game, Juves. Not, I'm going to be honest, necessarily where I thought we would be
No.
at the top of the evening, but a very exciting place for Direwolves to be because Direwolves now have the momentum. This is theirs to lose now.
Yeah, like you would argue that Direwolves are favourites to win now, right? You know, two in a row, complete mental shift, complete different, like it's a different belief system. You all of a sudden you start thinking, oh wait, like this wasn't that hard at all. Like we're winning, you know.
Mm.
And it's not even like it's not even that they're getting, you know, it's a massive team fight that's changing it. It's not like it's going to 40 minutes, it's going to 50 minutes, and it's just a nail biter. It's literally Direwolves just outplaying them in every position at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to you and before, and it's like, how do you summarize this game? This game was like, sure, Swiper got a solo kill in the top lane, and therefore he's probably outperforming his lane opponent. Uh, and then I use an analogy. Sometimes doing nothing is something in League of Legends. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
just farming your camps, farming your jungle, farming your lane, playing to your next objective is doing more than trying to tower dive someone. So like,
Is it that they're is it that Order are pushing their luck or they're being trying to be too clever?
I don't think anything's lucky when it comes to like League of Legends. You know, I don't think there's no luck in the game besides a crit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and even then you can sort of calculate a crit by how much crit chance you have. Uh, I think they're just trying to do too much. They're trying to accelerate the game too quickly, and they're trying to make rash, uncalculated plays. And when you're versing players who can skill check you or players who are very good individually, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work all the time. You know, that's
Yeah.
why you see, if you look at Korea as a good example, Korea, you know, as a region, are very slow, very calculated. They don't make like rash decisions. And they've historically been one of the best regions to play League of Legends, right? They've got a lot of world titles. So um, I think Order just really need to slow down. Uh, yeah.
And it's interesting because it seems like this iteration of Order has carried over some of the same problems as the previous iteration of Order, uh, with a fairly substantial roster change, and we're seeing it bot lane has just taken a nosedive over the course of this series.
Yeah, I think their bot lane. One thing I like to do in a best of, well, we used to play best of threes when I played OPL, right? And the thing that we used to do in best of
Those were the
threes, those
days.
were the
We
days.
miss you, by the way. We miss you.
Thank you, thank you.
I think you should give up your podcasting career and come back as a pro player.
Should I play? If anyone, I'm LFT. If anyone wants to, and I'm eligible. If anyone wants to hit my DMs. Um, but yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, with their bot lane, they've gone Senna Tam a few games in a row and Senna Maokai. I think Senna Maokai and Senna anything fasting is completely broken. And there's a few people in LCS and Academy that agree. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
had conversations with them. Um, but sometimes when things aren't working and you're just not playing well and it's not going your way and you're losing in lane, just change it up. So what, like I said, what we used to do in BO3s, if we lost the first game, the second game we would do a completely different draft. If we played scaling in game one, we'd play early game the next game. And then sometimes mentally it's really good for you and it's just a good change. So because you're like, oh, we only lost because of that. And then you put that aside and then you play a
Mm-hmm.
completely different game. I'm not saying Order should play a completely different game because it's obvious what works for them. But I think just changing up the bot lane dynamic would be really good.
Well, seeing here, Order taking blue side,
Mm.
no changes to either roster, but a change to Order would be, like you're saying, a radical change in champions. Can you knock a tilted mindset out by going, okay, we're going to play with completely different champs, really like try something new because then it's kind of like a game one.
So I think them choosing blue side is the first step in the right direction. It forces, you know, Dials to stick with that one ban and the bans that they've initially been doing. But what it does is
Mm-hmm.
it opens up, you know, an Aphelios first pick. I want to see Rare 7 on Aphelios. I think the champ's completely bonkers. Then you can put Ayla on an engaged support if he wants to. You can put him on whatever sport you want, right? Once you have Aphelios, you're pretty okay. Um, then Harry, I think like it's fair to say Harry had a pretty poor set performance. And we will look at getting him back to a control mage. He's playing really well in these control mages earlier in the series. So, like, you won game one and two. Let's look at what worked there, and let's look at what didn't work for Direwolves, and try force that hand again, right? And yeah,
Yeah. More?
Oh no, yeah, I heard. Yeah, I thought you wanted to
You heard
chime
my
in.
sharp intake
Yeah,
of
yeah.
breath. That was shock at your cogent analysis.
And then I think the other thing is what the Iowas are doing correctly is like stick with it. You know, sure they counter ganked the top lane, which got them back into the game. But I think a majority of the game, all the good stuff that happened was actually around their bot lane still. So I think Direwolves are kind of in their mojo. They're playing around Vital. They're getting resources on him. They're getting gold into him. And so it's cool, man. This is why best of fives are really cool because you get to see like the team that starts strong doesn't necessarily win. The team that
Yep.
adapts the most in a BO5
Adapts.
wins, right? And I like
Absolutely.
it's adapt or die. That's the saying. That's how it goes. So what we're seeing right now is we're seeing Direwolves are just adapting like really well to draft, to gameplay, to even changing in game, and Order at the moment they're just dying.
Yep. And it's that adaptation that's going to help whoever wins this next game, because obviously best of five, we're up to our final game, and the winner goes on tomorrow to play the Chiefs. At the moment, who do you think has a better chance of taking out the Chiefs? Is it Direwolves or is it Order?
At the moment, I think Direwolves have the better chance taking out the Chiefs. I think that the bot lane for Direwolves is playing extremely well. I think Chiefs bot lane played extremely well, even in the series that they lost. So I think that'd be a good matchup. Miru's been playing very well on Jarvan. So I think all round, it's obviously recency bias too, because if you asked me this question 2 games ago,
Yeah.
2 games ago, I would have said Order, honestly. And now it's 2 games later, and it's I'm saying Direwolves. I think that these Order and Direwolves are so evenly matched that who wins next game is probably the best team. Honestly, that's my honest opinion. It's not even an analysis, really, is it? But I think whoever wins next game,
Truly not.
is the same
It's the opposite
of analysis. It's
just
results-based
stating-
analysis.
It's stating almost a fact.
But it's because I think they're so evenly matched,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think if they play 10 games, it probably goes 5-9.
5-5.
Yeah, or 5-5,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it goes 5-9, then they've played a lot more games than 10 games.
Yeah.
It's not only
Oh, yeah,
Jules who
wait.
gets to do
I,
the analysis, the maths. It's fine.
Yep.
You're a Viking from what I remember. It's not just Juves who gets to do the analysis. You can analyze these games as well. Neosurf are giving away skins, legendary skins, and must-work chests and keys to you guys. All you need to do is head to the OPL Twitter page, see the post there where you need to predict how much total gold is going to be earned in the final game of the evening. The person who gets that number closest gets themselves a legendary skin and 20 masterwork chests and keys. 4 runners up, they're going to win something as well. Epic skin and 10 masterwork chests and keys. Juice.
I'm saying 84k.
84k.
Yep.
I'm going to say 83k.
83?
83k.
I see. You always got to compete with me that little bit, don't you? Just
Yeah,
that little bit.
Yeah. So if it's over 83, then, or if it's 83 and a half, then you win. And if it's anything underneath that, then that's a big fat Nick Boy win. Speaking of big fat Nick Boy wins, I'm not involved in the next game, but there certainly are 10 people who are ready to play. It's Order versus Direwolves. It's game 5 of the best of 5, and it is the Macca's Champ Select.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Game number 5 here, Rusty. It is the time, it is the chance for one team to continue their playoff stream. I am greatly excited for this music, this moment, this opportunity for these teams to prove who has the longest patience, durability, strength and preparation.
Yeah, what comes down to this moment for both teams, of course, the losers eliminated from the OPL for Split 1. The winner gets to go on and face the Chiefs. Now, Swiper, of course, I have no doubt in my mind wants to win this one to be able to take on his former organization, take on his former substitute top laner as well, but there is an absolute fridge in front of them of Direwolves. These last two games have been outstanding. They really have built up some momentum for themselves. They've found a draft and, a composition and style that they've refined through this series that's working well for them now, and they've bested what would be the Senna starving bottom lane.
I'm just so distracted right now, Rusty. I'm just bobbing my head, just vibing to this music. It's a Friday night, and here we are in a best of 5. It's gone the full course. It's like one of those good DJ sets at a festival where you're just having such a great time with your friends. I'm so happy to be here with you, mate, and we are rocking this stage. When you are here, but I'm not going to be that guy like Nick Boy.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said it. I'm also disconnecting now. What have you done?
Yeah. Let's see how Order open up their situation this game. Direwolves love to play red side. They love to give Order first pick. Really force
no,
their
I don't
hand.
really want to go too hard into analysis until Dodosin's gone, because it is distracting.
It's so good.
But let's talk about adaptations that have happened so far. The big one is there's a lot of jungle bans away from Mir. There is a unanimous opinion in the OPL that Mir has 2 champions, and his 3rd champion was often not the most viable choice. So the Olaf and the Jarvan have been taken away from Mir, and they've pushed him towards the Trundle. And I think that's a big call, because Only has a monstrous champion pool with some clutch picks like this. And so I think Order, fully aware of what's happening, and my eyes go to Direwolves, because 1, they ban the Aphelios, they're given the Varus.
Yep.
They ban the Azir from Hayri as well, and it makes me think that they are still going to go for a priority pick for Shock, and they're red side. So Chippies can have that last pick, go for the Malphite or whatever it may be, and take them down in the 5v5, which is what the Direwolves have been doing to great success.
And wouldn't that be the dream, right? You got the unstoppable force coupled then with the chain of corruption, the social distancing that needs to come across as a result of that. But how can you move when you're locked in place? That is the question I need to find answers to right here. Tahm Kench is going to be locked in. We are now entering second banning phase. You can really sense the tension, or maybe that is just the music playing. I don't know, Rusty. I am so amped up. Like, I've had so many coffees. I feel like I am Spawn Jr. at this stage of the game. I think I was talking to him the other day. He's saying he felt a little bit stressed. I'm sure he's feeling that stress right here in this moment. But that guy drinks coffee like an absolute boss man.
He's actually refined coffee to an art. We'll see if he's able to refine drafting to an art just as much in this 5th game as well. There's a segue for you, Nick Boy. Get that one.
Nick Boy has been benched. We've got a new host on our hands. Top laners have been denied. Mid laners too, if you want to flex it in that regard. We are going down to a situation where we now look at what mid laners do we not want to have to deal with. Syndra still online, same with the Cassiopeia. Heavy priority towards anybody with attack damage. Seems to be the priority so far.
Yeah, definitely the thing they're looking at. Now, that Olaf ban is also a flex pick, so technically, of course, a couple of extra top laners have been taken away from Chip. He's looking towards his champion pool. With this flexibility of set, I would still like to see the set go to Swiper. I think based off last game, I would like to see some more creativity from Hayri. Vital has hovered something every single game, Skibby. So we're going to let that one sit for a second before he actually picks a champion.
I got so excited for a second. And that would have been an awesome way to close out this one. Will be the Orianna, however. If Shock can play like he did last game, boy, oh boy, am I scared.
And the thing is, like, there's an Aurelia ban before the Orianna was picked in. The Syndra was taken away from Shock as well, so they're making sure he's not the most comfortable that he can be. And this is one of those picks in that direction. The reason that I want Swiper to play the set is we know he can. We've seen it work. They've got a magic damage jungler, so Hayri can theoretically play whatever he wants. Just play to win your lane, if that's how you want to play it out. Hayri is very good at being that wild card type of player in the Order roster to make things work.
And Lucian would definitely add to that. Nautilus will be the final pick here. Order taking a note out of Direwolves' page here and saying, well, if you can draft this, then we can too. We're going to fight some fire with fire.
I mean, you could Malphite Ori, but the thing, so we've gone for a Vladimir here. And the thing is, Skimmy, like, I was looking at Direwolves' composition, and I feel like their engage was a little bit lacking. They've got a Varus Tahm Kench, so they do still have a form of engage. They've got the ability to deal damage from mid-range. The Vladimir pick is not expected, but what it does provide, while not strict engage, is a very good flank and team fighting damage. This is something that Chippy has played a million times, so it's not too much of a surprise to me, where, you know, it is the first time we've seen it in this set, so to the viewers, it may well be. But he's gone into the set and he said, let's do it, let's scale, let's team fight, and let's do what works best, you know, let's match that Karthus and beat them at it.
And it's just going to be so damn scary how it can really amplify the damage that comes across. He knows massive wombo combo ultimates. My only point that I was going to highlight before that I'm a little bit scared about is how much value that this Chain of Corruption may potentially be able to find, given that Order want to get in your face and stack up.
I find it so funny that, like, looking at this draft, it almost feels like the shoe's on the other foot for execution and ease of execution, more importantly. Like, the Nautilus set, very simple, straightforward. Karthus presses R and it's going to deal damage to everyone, right? That very simple gameplay. Whereas on the other side, you know, they do still have skill shots they need to hit. Various is notorious for missing a lot of the time as well. But it's less about that front-to-back 5v5 that we've seen from them, because it's not a Jarvan from Mir, it's the Trundle.
It is the Trundle. And it is game number 5. This one for all the marbles. Tension. You can feel it. The music, it's gone. It's the business hour, the business end of what has been a very long day. With only one team able to keep their OPL 2020 playoffs for Split 1 still online here.
Got our emotes covered out early here. We're just going through the repertoire to see what's available. We've matched crabs, the camping tents as well. Oh, the gingerbread man, that really mixes it up. Mind games coming into this game 5, Skimmy.
Sure are.
Never thought you'd see a gingerbread man in game 5.
Look, if I was to come back in an alternate life as any form of dessert, I think it would have to be a gingerbread man. I feel like you're just so versatile. You're going to be set up for life. You know, you get to, you know, star in the Shrek franchise. So you're set up for life in terms of money. You know, you can have a nice little stable job and be a little bit of a funny guy on the side.
And jokes on these emotes aside, Skimmy, the fact that they're spamming them is oddly positive to me. And, you know, Juves mentioned this during the segments that they had as well. Order are an emotional team. And if you're sitting here at the start of a game spamming your emotes, you're not tilted, are you? Like, that's a clear sign that they are still playing at 100%.
Having a good time. It's been, what, we're at 9 o'clock now. 5 hours on the trot with a break in between. So, 4 hours of OPL gameplay. Yep, these guys are punching on. The banter has not been lost amongst them. It's going to be a fantastic way to close out this day. But at the end of the day, obviously, they do want to find those victories. And we talk about the picks that might find the most value. Obviously, what springs to mind for me is, can only pop off like he has in the past and be that, you know, star player on the Scarface or the Chippy's flex into the Vladimir be enough to seal the deal.
I can't think of a time in recent history where Only hasn't been 5 levels ahead when he's playing the Karthus. Now, you're seeing exactly what can happen in top lane. It's not like Vladimir is designed to win at level 1. He is one of those champions that scales up into the game, level 7, level 9, big breakpoints, as well as those first items for team fighting. Swiper's going to have a field day, just farming and pushing and giving priority to his jungler early, and that's good for a Karthus. Not only is it good for Swiper, but Karthus trying to just out-farm a Trundle, very possible early.
So to further that point a little bit more for the viewers at home, you know, you talk about Vladimir not going to be winning too much in the early stages of the game. What sort of breakpoints are we looking for? Like 1 major item, 2 to 3, like a lot of Chippy's hero pool?
Well, you have to look at who he's trying to kill, right? So he's against a double AD carry style opponent. It's not going to be a barrier or a heal for the Lucian as well. So you would say maybe 1.5 items is when he has serious kill threat with a full combo. But every item that he completes past what is usually a proto belt first, his kill threat increases. So you have to respect more and more. You know, maybe building a Hex Drinker is something that Hayri will have to do. And if he builds defensively, then it's an extra item you're waiting, right?
It is indeed. Speaking of waiting, both junglers are waiting to try and start off on towards this scuttle, but it'll be, once again, only finding the dominance. He was to open up a zoo. Now, bear with me, this is a little bit whack, but if he was to open up a zoo, I feel like he would have a very, you know, extraordinary turtle collection. Maybe some tortoise amongst it as well. It would look pretty good, that's all I'm going to say. I'm sure he'd treat them well as well.
Sure, Only now continuing to pressure forwards. Mir's going to see this, but Only has the level advantage and the red buff if he was to start auto-attacking, and Hayri has priority, so just pressuring every camp that he can, disengage towards the scuttle for that mana that he lost anyway. we're finding ourselves, exactly what you would expect through the early stages of this one. Lucian being aggressive, Set being aggressive, forcing priority, trying to get the faster 6 for only. The difference for me, though, Skimmy, that we do have to consider, and I spoke about this as something I expected from Order in last game, was that they would change their bot lane playstyle. Not the Starve Center. They've gone for the Misfortune Nautilus. They've gone back to something that they know works, and it's clear that even if the center Tahm Kench is good, and it is good, it isn't working.
And having that sort of confidence, I suppose, or that accountability to own up and say, look, yes, it may be meta, it may be strong, but right now it's not been enough to get us across the line in these last 2 games. We need to change something, make a winning formula take place, and see some of the pressure that Avaris can offer, especially during the first few levels. Especially when the Blight stacks up. The punishment is so damn real.
That's the brilliance of the best of 5 here as well, though, right? If this was a regular week of the OPL, Order might have won that first set, but there was a chance that Direwolves had the read on the center Tahm Kench early. And now you can adapt. Now you can change the way that you're playing. You can reinvent your style to take down your opponents very specifically. And that's what we have here from Order in this 5th game. They've defaulted back to the Misfortune Nautilus. Stronger team fighting, easier execution.
Both junglers once again showing face, bottom side of this map, wanting to be present for the dragon, but also present for the numbers advantage that may take place, as these bottom duo are just always going at it, always showing what they can do. Vital finding the better half of that one with this lethal tempo poke from afar.
Only's about to potentially find that ward. He actually just misses seeing the ward die. He knows it's warded, however, based off the playstyle of the Direwolves roster. Mir also camping out, because his vision just died, so a couple of extra seconds spent by that Trundle on the defense. There's a couple of extra seconds that Only's now able to walk his way on over to the Raptors and get closer to that level 6 mark and have the Requiem up and available.
What do you think the second best dragon for Karthus is, apart from the Infernal? Do you just default to a Cloud as a result?
Oh, Cloud for sure. I mean,
I was thinking, is there a world in which you want, like, Ocean or Mountain?
Well, here's the question. Is Infernal the best?
Well, I just see a situation, right, where your Requiem just procs everybody, burns them as well. You've got so many items. You're just sprinkling salt on everyone.
Yeah, but the way Infernal Drake works, right, is it hits one person with the bonus damage. Just in the same way that the Runic jungle item does. So, would it not be better to have a Cloud Soul, or just Cloud Drakes, more importantly, and ult more often?
That's what I would see at face value. I don't know. I just look at Ocean.
I mean, the move speed from the Soul's pretty useless, but the Cloud Drakes themselves are the value, right? Whereas the Infernals are like, they're relevant scaling, but the Soul's more useful. I think that's the difference.
Oceans are so gross. Whenever I get it, I'm just big kick dub in the chat. I'm having a good time. Regardless, it's going to be Order having a good time so far, finding himself a small little lead in this game, and a lot of that can be attested and credited to what Harry's been able to achieve. Finding the advantage in his 1v1 matchup, able to bully out Shock and keep him at bay underneath his tower, and allowing him to do little cute interactions like this, which is keeping this river online with Vision and Scuttles.
Game continues in a pretty standard and expected way here. Remember that we're in Game 5, so a lot of teams, in situations like this, it really dawns on them what is on the line. And the way I see that is teams then tend to slow down, They tend to default to team fighting. And there's a couple of considerations here that are interesting. One, they've gone for the Lucian mid lane, who you wouldn't say, like, Lucian is picked for team fighting, right? Where an Orianna definitely is. So a bit of lane control is going to be important here, and it is about getting that Karthus ahead like mentioned, and he has that slight lead. But when will they actually make the play? When will they turn those small CS advantages or experience advantages into something meaningful is to be seen. Because right now, we're just continuing to trade sides of the map. We've got the map flip here from Direwolves, and it's just going to be a Drake for a Herald.
Yep, going to be a trading of objectives there. So you've got the scaling component for the Soul, traded for golden XP that the Rift Herald can offer. Interesting to see where Mir decides to use it, if he prioritizes it towards, say, the Vladimir, or if he wants to go for mid lane control to even out the deficit.
And so you'd expect the Herald to be summoned instantly top lane, as is customary when your opponents are pushing bot lane already. They're trying to hit the turret and the bot lane didn't flip to match. So this will just be a full turret taken by Direwolves, but this is also Like, very much a conscious choice here by Order. Because look at where this gold share actually goes, right? They might get more plates, they might break the turret, but these are plates going to all 3 of them. If Cupcake's able to get away, then maybe it's only 2. But at the same time, so Cupcake actually did get that gold, by the way, so shared between 3. You look at bot lane, Rare is getting all of it by himself. So while it is still a good trade from Direwolves and they're able to get the tower, that is still a lot of money into the pockets of the individual carry of Rare, which can be seen as debatably better.
And this is something we've seen Spawn be so vocal about in the past, right? About lane flipping and who should be getting the lion's share of that gold. Not to mention, yes, he gets the plates, but also, he's got the coal. So once that's completed too, it's another bump of gold to find himself, accelerated into this matchup, to have more of an influence than, say, the Varus, and be that deciding factor when these team fights, as you've discussed, may start to come on out.
The risk is, of course, with the top lane turret being gone, it is a longer lane. It is a lot easier then for Mir to show up and gank that or threaten that. And the same thing can be said for Tahm Kench and Varus once they actually start planting their base in mid lane, being able to rotate. So that's something that you have to consider if you were Swiper. But right now, it's just a conscious gold trade from both teams.
And it is indeed. Mir's the first one to get his jungle item completed. This only isn't too far away there from getting the Runic Echoes online. Does have a Dark Seal in his pocket, so you can understand what that's looking to achieve, especially with Dark Harvest and Requiem being a threat. And I mean, I wonder if there's a world in which we don't see, your conventional 5v5 take place, but just these brawls continue to happen in the solo lanes, and outright only will win.
I mean, you would expect the team fights to be happening from both teams in certain regards. Right now, I wouldn't expect anything crazy to happen. There's a world where, something aggressive happens mid. It would probably be the most likely place. Using a Karthus ultimate with a full Lucian combo, they could threaten Shock. He didn't go for Stopwatch in his build, but he did rush Seeker's Arm Guard towards that Zhonya's Hourglass. But at this point, he can't stop the Karthus damage, right? So that's probably the place that I would look. For the rest of the map, they're just farming. They're just hanging on. They're just going to let Only hang out, get himself, 5 levels, 100 CS, whatever it may be, a full death cap advantage. And then how do you stop them from winning that team fight, as the team fight will have to happen?
That it will. And it's a situation we have to keep our eyes on as to where these junglers continue to go in this map. If we're looking for those level 11 power spikes on the ultimates to come online. See a rotation take place right now. Cupcake threatening, has the Abyssal Voyage, is going to bring Mir along for the rides. Looking to dive on towards Harry, who had only in protection, and just give Shock a bit of protection given the fact that he is completely run dry on his mana.
Yeah, sounding concept though. At the very least, we'll force a reset for free here from Shock, as he'll be able to push that wave in like you mentioned. Having no mana means he can't lane. So it's just nice to see the pressure. But here we go, bit of damage put down. If it was enough, you'd see the Requiem, but not going to be seen just now. Maybe a plate to be taken in trade, especially because there's no teleport from Shock. So this next wave will be hard forced in by Harry. He'll probably get himself a plate and then recall himself. But again, it's small advantages building and building, waiting for that big fight to really break out.
Yes, it was Direwolves that got the very first tower. But the gold advantage in the top half of this draft here for Order is what's allowing them to find a lead overall. Now we're going to start to see those core items get completed. Little Rune King now there for Harry, and Salt Boots too, adding to the pressure that a Karthus can offer from afar, and in those direct ganks. Dragon up in 20 seconds now.
Yeah, Direwolves definitely prepared and set up for this one. First, like mentioned, going for that plate in mid lane was something considered, but Harry's going to choose to reset before the plate just to get here for the fight itself. So knows the Drake timings. Will Order contest this when Direwolves already have the vision set up? I think the question is more, do they want to? They can get the vision control back. Only's huge. He has Sork Shoes right now ahead of Mir just for team fight damage. 40 CS, 1 level, but he's level 10. So maybe even just, take the Drake if it's free, farm to 11 otherwise.
That's been my question, because then bear in mind, Chippy's has now just completed that Proto Belt, so would start to be a bit of an impact and an option in these team fights.
He's also looking for a teleport, but speaking of teleports, Swiper's coming in.
Swiper is coming in on the flank right now. Is going to spot out on towards Cupcake, who's in the wrong place at the wrong time. 4 members will say hello. The shield, the buffer, the mitigation to live. Wurazar and a flash having to be used to secure the first blood, but goes the way of Lucian, and Hayri getting himself a further lead in this mid lane.
They just threw bullets everywhere until he went down. You've got the Lucian culling. You've got the bullet type from his fortune as well. They will get the pick. No need for a Karthus ultimate, but like you mentioned, the flash was at least used by the set. Teleport as well to get into that fight from the get-go. Now, the Drake is free. Not going to be contested by Direwolves, but they're also already on the flip to the other side of the map looking for the Rift Herald themselves.
But they are, and they're going to be quite content, I'm sure, to understand what kind of Rift we are going to get. It's going to be an Ocean, and this just sets things up for such a finale to close out game number 5. Both of these teams would find so much value with this.
Yeah, this is a nasty soul. I mean, we were speaking before, hypothetically, which is the best. It doesn't matter. If Ocean exists, it's the best. That's the Ocean is just so strong. But now we've got an Ocean Soul. We also have the Herald being hit right now, and it seems like Order a little bit hesitant to take the contest until everyone gets here. They're waiting for Misfortune, but it's going to be too late.
And the second time that they trade Herald for the Drake. Ayla looking to try and cause a bit of pressure, but I tell you what, Vital is the one exerting it right now. The lick connects, but he lives just a little bit longer. Protobelt too far away. The flash as well. Pixel perfect from both stretches of the imagination. Nobody falls on down, but the pressure now surely is there as Direwolves can look to execute now through this mid-wave.
Yeah, Ayla with 0 HP. Everyone else still available, however, so it doesn't look like they're going to force themselves a Rift Herald summon straight away into the mid lane. The response is still there from Order. They're a little bit too powerful to just push through and ignore those champions. Only now currently playing with his opponents. Needs to respect a little bit. Vital is hovering around the edges there with his ultimate available. So at least a good blue trinket will spot him before any shenanigans happen.
Anytime Chippies gets the opportunity, he's going to those side lanes. He is scaling on up, finding himself a single level advantage over Swiper at this stage of the game, but definitely evening out the balance as to how he fell behind in that CS in the laning phase. He is doing what Chippies does best, that is creating map pressure, and that is what they'll need.
Looking at both teams' comps, once again, you know, we're starting to hit those first items, building onto the second. I think it's easy to play the Direwolves comp if Order is coming into them. Hayri is about to just massacre Chippies.
He just does so much damage, and there's no response for Vladimir at this stage of the game. Hayri is finding the picks and utilizing his strength.
Well, that's the thing. He has no boots, Chippies. He used his ultimate and he used his flash to try and get that kill on Ayla that didn't actually come across. So, nice little collapse there from Hayri. He's able to pick his moment, finds the 1-for-0 trade, very easy solo kill into his pockets. And I don't know how many times I'm going to keep saying this, but even if he didn't get him there was a Karthus ultimate. So, he does very well to just pick it up of his own accord. And that's also going to be a turret now as well.
It's going to start to build a gold lead, favoring Order as a result. And it's starting to translate the strength that they are achieving in this game. Major discrepancy between the junglers right now. A 2-level advantage. And this is just what Only does. We've seen games where he's 5 levels up, Rusty. It's nuts how he gets away with this.
Yeah, well, when your lanes, you know, all have priority at level 1, it's a lot easier to start the game off. And when a Karthus gets a free first clear, it's a lot easier to be Karthus. There's a few things to consider there. Draft makes the jungler look better in a lot of ways. It still takes a good jungler to execute on that, and Only most certainly is a very capable jungler. But the draft was good from Order here to give him the lead that he needs. Now, Direwolves are the ones who, you know, back towards the point I was going to make on scaling, have got some mid-game champions. They do still have good late-game teamfight scaling. You know, Varus with the attack speed build, an Orianna Shockwave with a Vladimir ultimate. They still have a lot of late-game damage, but they don't really have late-game engage.
Nice little hook. Denied there by Time Kench. Now to counter engage. Depth charge has to come out to stem that. Swiper on the flank, looking for the member that he wants to lock in place. Bullet time goes across. He's going to do much, but it will zone them away for just a little bit longer. Shockwave is huge, however. That's the turning point that Direwolves needed. That's what allows them to get 2 kills. But here is the Requiem. And it does so much damage. It could have been so much more. Look how low Direwolves are.
Oh, that was also close. Waiting for the shield to time out their Vital. 4 people with no health to their names on Direwolves, all have to reset, all have to go back to base, and that only gets worse from here, Skibby. That only becomes harder to deal with as the game progresses. We see this fight one more time with Ayla caught. He actually gets the ultimate off onto Chippies, who doesn't get the puddle out in time, but this is the combo. You've got Chippies using his Hemo Plague, the ultimate, just as the Shockwave connects. So max damage combo right there between the two of them. And you can see an absurd amount of damage from those two. But they don't have engage, so they just have to hit their spells. And the response was so close.
Cupcake and the Tom Kench proving invaluable as a controlled measure, as a response to allow only to have this Karthus pick. Could have been so much worse. He's at that point in the game with the Salt Boots and the Oblivion Orb. He is doing a lot of damage right now. And given that multiple members here are itemizing towards the Ninja Tabbies, now it's the dream situation for a Karthus.
Yeah, for sure. You're looking at the stopwatches, actually, though. There's going to be some Zhonya's purchase between a Vladimir and an Orianna. There's a Tahm Kench, so it's not perfect, as Swiper and Chippies are duking it out.
They are indeed, and Harry is just utilizing the fact that he can dash up and down across this little ramp. They are zoning out Chippies completely right now.
Next to the Drake. It is a 50-50.
Oh, they found the hook. They've taken out Vital. Out goes the bullet time once again. They're going to look for the dragon. It's going to be Miru who picks it up. And that's a beautiful Hemo Plague onto multiple members. A shutdown all importantly onto Chippies. He gets himself a double kill. The only one to survive. As they look to try and collapse at the very last second.
That is just... Shock is hitting all of these ultimates. Chippies is following up perfectly as well. The solo laners of Direwolves, the Kiwis are coming up huge. Just watch the Shockwave once again. The ball's in place. The objective is the focus. And the second that Order forget about him, the Shockwave's going to hit the mark. And it stops the Misfortune ultimate. It stops any hope of DPS coming out of Hayri. And Swiper was useless for the rest of that fight. Only is legitimately trying to 1v9 his way through this game. And Order just need to hold on and continue to scale and try and get him up there. And Mira even gets the Drake, Skimmy.
What a fantastic turnaround. 2 items now completed here for Chippies. He's got that Zhonya's online. GLP working there for Shock. That's so much credit to this pick. The fact that, started off with that game 1, didn't find as much value as you'd imagine really from what this man is capable of. And he comes into the previous game and just like, look, this is what I can do. Pops off. And now we are starting to see the same narrative take place again. And that's completely brought the gold back to a dead even point in this game. And, I hate to think about it, but it feels a little bit like a rugby match where the Kiwis are starting to take it to the Australians.
You could say that. You could definitely say that. Thank you.
Well, when you got a
one.
Kiwi and an Australian commentator, I mean, you just add a bit of.
Yeah, you wait till game 5 to say that, don't you? You don't want to say that game 1 or 2.
Oh, it's like everyone like backpedals.
No, the rugby only comes in when it's relevant to the Kiwis, right?
Look, mate, you've got to get those cheeky little jabs in wherever you can. And right now, I'm feeling the love.
But still, the game has slowed once again. You can feel it from the side of Direwolves. Shock is going nuts. He's a slow burner who's warmed up to this game 5. It is coming in with a vengeance. Him and Chippies have been working brilliantly in tandem, with the rest of the team, of course, following up nicely. So you can see that the Kiwi squad are putting in some serious work. Direwolves are putting in some serious work here. But at the same time, I can't say that they are just going to win this game from those last 2 team fights alone. Look at the gold difference between these teams. It's 400. It's non-existent. They still have the Karthus. They still have decent team fighting with easy execution, but only is caught.
He is indeed. They are collapsing on him. A Shock is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Forced to burn at that stopwatch very early on. Chippies is here for assistance for that 1-2 synergy on their ultimates. He jumps into the back line and says hello. Almost just looks at Rare and he falls on the floor. The max range sniper cannon that is vital on this Varus. Shockwave again onto 2. Always meeting its mark. Now Swiper in a dream. He makes them kiss. But this is not a wedding. This is a triple kill and Direwolves go for the Baron.
Yeah, just like the AD carry of Order, the dream is gone. Direwolves will get themselves the Baron. The gold lead extend here from this. It's 3 back-to-back team fights, and you can't help but look at this and say it's going to be too much for Order to deal with. Shock gets saved this time by a Tom Kent after he uses the stopwatch early himself. They have an answer for every situation, and they are beating Order at it.
This is getting scary. The fact that Chippies is just every single time he rocks up to a team fight, guaranteed double. The guy is putting in serious work, and just the cohesion between himself and Shock to one-two that combo every single time. I start to look at this and I think, okay, what is your game plan now for Order? You've got the double AD carry set up. Do you just look to try and contest objectives? Hang on a minute, you tried to do it just then.
Yeah, like 280 carries against a fed Vladimir Oriana, you don't want to be an AD carry against them, right? It's just, there's too much damage. There's too much AoE damage, and there's too much zone control. That's the thing. Like, now that Order have got 2 of the Drakes, they've bought some time, but once again, you know, there's not a lot of engage from Direwolves. I've said that a few times. But what little they do have, they utilize brilliantly. And while it looks like Shock's caught, he is. The Karthus ultimate was used just to take him down. Tom Kench says no. And then the Shockwave comes in the last second of this fight to hit it home and make sure that Direwolves are going to be successful. And that's the thing. You don't expect the Shockwave to still exist that late into a skirmish where the Oriana was caught, right?
No, you don't. I was just catching my breath there for a second because I am amazed at how the series has panned on out. The reverse sweep, a potential reality here, is now Direwolves off the back of that team fight find themselves in the gold leads. They will lead at 44k, 2 Ocean Dragons still in aim.
Go.
And they are finding Peg Swiper once again. Anybody that runs around this map, Direwolves are hungry to collapse on you and just make it feel like you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's being devoured. 3 members are saying hello to him. They find another kill.
And this time, Kench is proving to be way too overwhelming as well for the map play here of Order. Chippy's on the bottom side with that Baron buff. And the thing, like, right now, this game has become Hayri in a dream. That's it. Hayri is the only person that you can look at in this whole team. You've got Farm for only. You know, he's getting closer to items, but that's neither here nor there for the next few minutes. It is just a 4-kill Lucian with 2.5 items that needs to put in work that shouldn't be possible because Direwolves are just rampaging.
Sure are. They are now double sieging. They are threatening an inhibitor.
You can't even MF ult. If you MF ult, you get shockwaved.
Yeah.
There is no answer.
Inhibitor falls on down. They've prepped bot wave as well. Nautilus is looking to engage, but at this stage, really, it's more of a disengage if anything. They turn their attention to the bottom side. Whoa. And a shockwave onto 2, followed by the pillar. The Chain of Corruption millimeters away from connecting, but that won't matter. They find a double kill just like that. And Direwolves are now so close from completing this best of 5 and turning this series on its head.
Yeah, Order staring down the barrel of a loaded gun at the moment. This second inhibitor will fall, and you'd expect, you know, unfortunately for Direwolves, the Baron has expired. Because with that, they may have even continued to pressure. Order will have one more fight in them at least now because of that Baron expiration, but that's 2 inhibitors gone. There's no control standing on the map.
Just look at the difference between the 80 carries itemization. Hexdrinker, QSS, Executioners versus just full-out damage from Vital's Varus here. It's so much respect shown to the threats that this composition offer, but just unable to execute in terms of a lot of what Misfortune's kit offers.
Yeah, it's just been like, so the thing is, if you build Executioner's Calling, QSS, and Hexdrinker, you're not winning the game. You're buying time. Right now, that Misfortune, if you hit the ultimate, you're just going to get Shockwave. So he needs the Hexdrinker, right? But at the same time, if the Varus engages on you and you don't have a Cleanser or QSS, you're in trouble. He doesn't have a Tahm Kench to save him this game. And so he also needs the Executioners because they have a Vladimir and they have a Trundle and they have a Tahm Kench. And the Varus has lifesteal. And you don't want to have a Morello's builder on your team when the only magic damage is a Karthus. So it's... Imagine... Oh, it's such a bad spot to be in.
But then to follow that, you're buying time. Are we just looking once again at the narrative from before of it has to be the 1v9 only show?
Yeah. I mean, they need a death cap on only. They need to finish that Morello's on only. They will probably continue to funnel money towards him. He has been hoarding the minions that are crashing as well. Like, he's not making sure that the AD carries get it. He's taking what he can. You need only to have a big team fight. He'll have to die, but you'll need him to have a big team fight to keep them in this game.
He has Flash to be able to jump into harm's way and find value from the grave. The final turret, the final inhibitor stands between Order and their player streams from expiring. Now goes the chain of corruption to lock members in place as Order look to try and force a fight before that turret was to fall on down. That's the super minions start to crash on in. Order put in a very scary situation as to where they put their priority.
Yeah, this third inhibitor may crash. Even if it doesn't, Direwolves will just disengage. They have a Tahm Kench ultimate to go straight to the Baron if they would like. Drake is up soon as well. That hook was the moment. And it's gone.
They weren't able to fight it, but Chippy's just jumps on in. He does so much damage. The cleanse comes out very early on. The turret's going to fall on down. Chippy's going to get slam dunked in by Swiper, who just gets evaporated. The turret falls on down. Now it's a 4v5. The food inhibitor will go crashing and burning. And the base of Order is busted.
Yeah, they're flashing away just to survive. That was a QSS and a flash and a heal from Rare just to stay alive. They're not able to stop this push. Direwolves are going for broke.
They are going for the end. Ayla's so damn low. He's going to die. He's going to fall on down. The first of two Nexus turrets connects as well. The reverse sweep is the dream. The Wolves are hungry in the night. The Wolves get the job done. Chippy's is the one with the magic on the Vladimir. And he will not fall victim down to the Requiem. It just doesn't matter at this stage of the game. The minions come on in. The members are so damn low. Rare, what can you do? You don't have bullet time, but it's up in just a few seconds. I don't see a world in which it's going to be enough. They disengage away. The Nexus is falling on down. Direwolves bring this back, and they will advance and have a second crack at the Chiefs.
And the unexpected happens today, Skivvy. We not only go to 5 games and get a reverse sweep on Order, it happens from a 2-0 lead, and it happens from Direwolves having won a single game of their last 8 games on Summoner's Rift in the OPL, but they pull the reverse sweep back.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. The fact that they were just getting crushed in those first 2 games, you start to think, what did they do? What did they change? The plan changed. They got Vital online. The plan changed. They had some creative picks for Chippies. And they found comfort overall. And from games 3 onwards, they just looked like a completely different beast to handle. And Order just unable to match them with any kind of response or answer.
That's the thing, right? That Game 5 Direwolves is the exact team that you want to challenge the Chiefs the next time that we see them compete on the Rift. They got form as the series progressed, and that's a terrifying Direwolves at the end.
Well, it has been a very long day and a fantastic series. Congratulations going to Direwolves as they advance to keep their playoff streams alive. For the meantime, though, we're going to take a step back. We're going to relax, get ourselves recovered. We're going to throw it back to Nick Boy and Juves.
No, I didn't actually.
Hear me, and now you can hear me. The reverse sweep is real. It happened, Juves. Did you see it coming?
I did not see it coming. I think, honestly, like, you know, the narrative was Direwolves are kind of, you know, they've hit a form slump in the back end of the split and also coming into playoffs. And so I think when they were 2-0 down, it's really a testament to their mentality and I guess what they've got going on over there because, you know, it was as good as done. The game was signed, sealed and delivered. The series was over and they've turned it around with an absolute Titan mentality.
And I think that part of that mentality, as you pointed out, I believe was at the end of Game 4, was the ability to adapt. The adapt or die that the Direwolves took into that game, that is the key to their victory. The fact that they were down, they figured out how to take out Order, and Order just couldn't adapt fast enough.
And that's it. That was key for me. Like, you know, Direwolves are confident in their skill checks and being able to, you know, 1v1 their opponent and beat them, you know, when it comes down to clicking their buttons better in a simple term. And so, yeah, Order didn't really do much of that. I think their draft towards the end became a little bit stale too. And yeah, all the credit to Direwolves and their staff.
Absolutely. Well, we have one of those Direwolves on the line right now. We do have Chippies. Let's have a chat with him in the post-game interview.
Sub G, you're a
Okay.
bit of a statue right now.
It's still that's weird. It's still working for me.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Chippies, well done. You played so well. You have frozen me into submission, and all I have for you is just this vaguely surprised and now horrified look. Congratulations on the win. How are you and the boys feeling?
oh, we're feeling pretty good. Obviously, there's no better way to win than to reverse sweep. But to me, it's pretty fun because the last time I played with Cupcake in a
Hello.
best of five. Oh wait, can you not hear me?
Um,
Can you not hear me either?
Chippies, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can anyone hear me? Yeah. What's happening? What?
Can you hear me?
He's looking at his microphone. Someone.
Oh, it's over, man.
Oh my god! Why are they still on this shot?
He's just cracking up, man.
Okay. Chippies. Well. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
someone asked Chippies a question. Chippies, if you can't hear me, just this has been a great interview, and you know what? I think
it's
it's
awesome,
time
man.
that we say congratulations. Thank you for the big wave. I have no idea what's going on. Let's throw back to me and Juves. I assume.
Okay, we're back. We're back at the hangout now. We could hear Chippies. Chippies, good.
Like,
I can hear you. We can. Let me clarify. I could hear every single person in that interview.
I don't know. I don't
The
know
only
if you
thing that
can
I
hear
couldn't
me,
see
Juves.
was you.
Yeah, but can
and
you
that's
hear
fine.
me look at the stream? Hear
But
me?
yeah, Chippies was basically saying that he was happy. If you didn't hear it, Chippies was happy that they got the reverse sweep. It was a very, yeah, it's a very sweet victory, and
I'm. It was a very
it
sweet
was
victory
definitely.
indeed. Sorry, I'm
Chippies
so
was
amused
not only
by
did
just
he
how
have to
long
reverse sweep the series,
we
but he had to
stayed on
stand
that
there,
shot of Chippy.
sit there while the
as
camera
he
was just staring at
comically
him, and
checked
he was
the
staring at
volume
the
on his
camera, and he had
headset.
no idea what was going on. So he's played that well on two fronts. Mm.
He's played that well on two fronts as well. And then the third front, of course, being the good play that the Direwolves put forth over the course of the night, the reverse sweep. No one, not no one, the Direwolves probably had a really good feeling heading into this, but Auto certainly were the favourites heading into this. And now it's Direwolves who are going to be going on and facing the Chiefs tomorrow.
It depends
and,
which Direwolves
and
turn
what
up.
are your odds
We've seen
there
now in a series, we've
on
seen the
Chiefs
worst
versus
of the Direwolves,
Who
and
do
we've
you
seen
think,
the best of the Direwolves.
Who do you think has the
I think
advantage
Chiefs
in that series?
still maybe like I think Chiefs are still edge Direwolves. I think they're still the second best team so far. I think Chiefs all round. They matched them quite well when it comes to individual matchups in terms of skill. I think Croc is the one outstanding player that the Chiefs have at the moment, and that's going to give them a lot of leverage against the Direwolves. So I think Direwolves need to up their game even more if they want to beat the Chiefs.
Absolutely. Well, as we spoke about, Direwolves proficient at adapting, and now they have the chance to go back to. They're really only one series away from heading back to a grand final, a place they haven't been in a few splits.
Yeah, well,
it's
two
a
of
very
the
comfortable
five,
place for Direwolves
two
as
of
an
the five players in the
organisation.
starting roster
It's where
now.
they
I
want
guess,
to be.
I'm
It's their
including Cupcake in
place
the starting
to
roster.
reclaim as part of the Australian esports scene, Juice.
OPL, they've got the experience. I think coming into a high pressure situation like this, you got another narrative you have, I guess, you got Chiefs as rookies. Not much. I guess Claire's got the experience, but a majority of them don't really have experience in these scenarios. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a banger of a series. I hope so.
A banger of a series indeed, and we hope that you guys can all join us then. I might even deign to give you a little of me on camera tomorrow for the closing segment, which would be very enjoyable. A massive thank you to the production team who helped pull all this together and who got us through that 50-minute pause. That was a once-in-a-lifetime event, and Juves, I couldn't have had anyone I would have rather to have with me during that period. Massive thanks as well to Rusty and Skimmy for the amazing job casting all 5 games, and particularly that 20 seconds there at the at the end of that pause game. There will be no OPL tonight because I think we've all had enough of us on the broadcast for the evening. But hopefully we should be able to get an NPL for you tomorrow evening. But until then, massive thank you to McDonald's and to NeoSurf for your support for the OPL playoffs, and we can't wait to see you guys tomorrow for Chiefs versus Direwolves.
強く強く輝いて消えた流れ星ほら命が燃える何かに怯え走り続けたその虚しさのし何を見て何を探してきた自分の声がただ響く幾千万の星の中で惹かれて出会った守り手たちよ回る回る時の輪の中で自分の弱さ強さの先に同じ空誰かが見上げてそう信じて消されない虹の奇跡が届けと冷たい指で涙拭ったあの君らも帰れない水平線目指して飛び立つ自分の願いを抱いて幾千万の星に呼ばれ交わりすれ違う守り手たちよ回る回る時に抗って未来を願ってもいいですか儚さから目をそらしたぐりせる道の兆しの向こうかける希望あなたの光あなたの命いたずらに知らさないようにそっとくれた記憶胸に熱く灯し約束の地へもう繰り返らずに恋願う歌は空高く世界に銀河に広がってくそれ